I was screaming. I was telling him to stop. It was incredibly painful. And he was acting like it was nothing. And he seemed to be disconnected from it.
Filed anonymously under the names John Doe and Jane Doe, some plaintiffs fear for their safety, saying Diddy threatened to kill them. 3 of the accusers claim they were
It was something just to get everybody like on the same level, and it was a way for me to get like, you know, my friends from Harlem.
Oh my God, you won't believe what I'm about to tell you about Diddy. This might be the most horrifying accusation we've seen yet. We're talking about a lawsuit that'll make your skin crawl involving a 17-year-old boy, and trust me, the details are beyond disturbing. There are claims of manipulation, and get this, they even have alleged photographic evidence of something Diddy supposedly used to spike drinks. Just when you thought Diddy's reputation couldn't possibly sink any lower, this case might be the one that brings everything crashing down. Here's the tea. This brave 17-year-old who's going by John Doe to protect his identity claims that 2 years ago, Diddy used his power and influence to lure him to a Manhattan penthouse. Picture this, a young, hopeful teenager dreaming of making it big in the music industry, thinking he's getting his big break. Instead, what he walked into was what he later described as a complete nightmare, a freak-off party packed with powerful music executives and well-known artists. According to the lawsuit, it all started so innocently. Diddy was playing the perfect host, all warm smiles and friendly conversation about the music industry. He even promised the teen he could help make him a star. But honey, what seemed like a dream opportunity quickly turned into a complete nightmare. After just one drink, the poor boy started feeling strange, dizzy, weak, and completely confused. And let me tell you, these weren't your typical alcohol symptoms. Later, he realized the horrifying truth. His drink had been spiked, and he claims he has actual photos of what Diddy allegedly used to do it. But wait, it gets worse. The situation took an even darker turn when he was led into a bedroom where others were already engaged in dash activities. According to the victim, Diddy forced him onto the bed and began making dash contact. The most shocking part? Other people were there, continuing their activities as if nothing was wrong, completely unbothered by what was happening to this poor.
Once I was in a helpless position and he was sure that he was in a position of power, then he took advantage of the situation.
The poor boy was absolutely terrified and disgusted, but thank goodness he had the presence of mind to think quickly. He asked to use the restroom, and once he got there, he immediately called a friend to come get him. And here's what makes this case even stronger. That friend is ready to testify about the emotional state the victim was in when they arrived to rescue him. Now, this horrifying moment where the victim had to call someone to save him, it brings up another disturbing case. It reminds me exactly of that lawsuit filed against both Diddy and Jay-Z by a Jane Doe who accused them of effing themselves on her during the VMAs. She was only 13 years at the time, and just like in this case, she had to call her dad to come pick her up after the horrific incident. Of course, Diddy denied everything, and Jay-Z has been fighting to get that case thrown out.
Jay-Z is staying on the offensive, going after not only the attorney who filed the lawsuit against him and Diddy, that would be Tony Busby, the attorney, but also the accuser.
But here's what makes this new case absolutely explosive. They have actual physical evidence. Can you believe it? There's allegedly a photo of the very thing Diddy used to spike the young man's drink. If this turns out to be true, it could be the smoking gun that finally brings him down. When you combine that with the testimony from the victim's friend, it's getting harder and harder for Diddy to wiggle his way out of this one. But of course, Diddy and his legal team are doing what they always do, denying everything and claiming it's all just an attempt to destroy his reputation. But honey, let me tell you something even more shocking. The fact that this John Doe managed to get evidence is practically a miracle. You see, word on the street is that Diddy has always been incredibly careful about covering his tracks. Over the years, we've heard some absolutely wild stories about how Diddy made sure every trace of his extracurricular activities disappeared without a trace. One of the most jaw-dropping revelations came from Diddy's former assistant, who spilled all the tea about what really happened after those infamous parties. And let me tell you, it wasn't just your typical cleanup. It was a full-on operation to destroy any evidence that could come back to haunt him. This assistant revealed they were forced to delete compromising videos, clean up all sorts of bodily fluids, and make sure any suspicious items completely vanished. But wait, because it gets even juicier, another lawsuit just blew the lid off how far Diddy's operation allegedly went to keep his wild lifestyle under wraps. Philip Pines, who used to be a senior executive assistant, filed a lawsuit claiming he was pressured into setting up what he calls Diddy's Wild King Nights. And trust me, these weren't your average parties. Pines detailed the most disturbing duties, from arranging substances and alcohol to preparing rooms with things like baby oil, Astroglide, and even industrial-level power banger machines.
He says Diddy referred to these alleged parties as Wild King Nights and claimed they sometimes lasted for days with multiple women involved.
The details just get more and more shocking. Pines claims he was forced to clean up after these parties, which meant dealing with all sorts of evidence. D-word evidence, bodily stains, and literally anything that could connect Diddy to these crazy events. But the most disturbing part? He claims Diddy knowingly exposed a celebrity guest to COVID-19 during his 51st birthday party and even pressured Pines to engage in intimate acts with a female guest just to prove his loyalty. Can you believe that? There was even this ridiculous incident where he was called back to work late at night just to find a missing TV remote. Pines revealed how cleanup duties weren't just about keeping secrets. They were also trying to avoid extra hotel cleaning fees. It shows how Diddy allegedly used his team like human shields to protect himself from any scrutiny.
In his suit, Pines says Diddy also made him clean up the mess too. Oh God, I hope he wore a biosuit, like a biohazard suit. Removing any evidence of condoms and toys, plus cleaning up stains from bodily fluids and urine.
Just when you think you've heard it all, another bombshell drops. As if Diddy's legal troubles weren't already a complete mess, now there's a new lawsuit that's even more disturbing than the others. This time, a woman, going by Jane Doe, has come forward with accusations that will make your blood run cold. The incident allegedly happened when she was just 16 years. This poor girl was working as a babysitter in a lower Manhattan building where Diddy's then partner lived, and what allegedly happened to her changed her life forever.
And we have an anonymous woman who would be in her 40s right now who says that she was just a high schooler working to make a little extra money as a babysitter when she was targeted by Sean Diddy Combs.
According to the lawsuit filed in New York Supreme Court, this nightmare began when Jane Doe ran into Diddy in August or September 2000, right after finishing her babysitting shift. Picture this, Diddy, with two male associates, offering this young girl a ride home. She kept saying no, multiple times actually, explaining that her parents' home was nearby. But after they kept pushing and pushing, she finally gave in. Oh my God, if she only knew what was about to happen.
According to the complaint, Jane Doe grew up in Lower Manhattan. She was 16 years old, living with her father and stepmother when she started working part-time as a babysitter in a building around the corner. Again, this is back in 2000.
Instead of taking her home as promised, and this is where it gets truly horrifying, Jane Doe claims Diddy's car drove to some unknown location. Can you imagine how terrified she must have been? When she started panicking about the change in route, Diddy allegedly tried to calm her down by giving her a drink. And wouldn't you know it, shortly after drinking it, she says she started feeling groggy and unsteady. The lawsuit details how Jane Doe was taken to a location where she was reportedly SA. The details are absolutely chilling. Diddy and his associates are accused of violating her while she was under the influence of whatever substance was in that drink. The poor girl was left completely devastated, both physically and emotionally. And it wasn't just Diddy. The claim alleges his associates were involved too, making this whole thing even more disturbing.
Combs was sitting in a car with the door open. Combs engaged her in conversation, asking where she was going so late at night, and that it was not safe for her to be walking alone. She advised Combs that she lived around the corner, was familiar with the neighborhood, and would be fine. Combs offered a ride home several times, which she continued to refuse.
But here's what really breaks my heart. After everything they allegedly did to her, they just drove her back to her apartment building and dumped her in the lobby. Can you even imagine? The sheer cruelty of abandoning a teenager in that state? It's just heartbreaking and shows exactly how predatory this whole encounter was, according to her lawsuit. And this isn't just some isolated incident. It's part of a much bigger pattern of accusations against Diddy over the years.
Getting into Combs' car that day was something plaintiff would come to regret forever. During the ride, plaintiff became scared when they did not drop her off at home as promised.
Now, here's something important about Jane Doe, the former babysitter. She's keeping things very private. She's made the smart decision to share her real name only with Diddy's legal team while staying anonymous to the public. And honestly, who can blame her? Her lawyer, Michael Rubin, put it perfectly when he said, "Survivors of this kind of trauma often deal with shame, embarrassment, and let's be real, a ton of judgment from people who don't get it." He explained that protecting her privacy isn't just about legal paperwork, it's about shielding her from harassment and stigma. But here's the catch. Even though she's staying anonymous to us, Diddy and his team will still get her name behind the scenes. It's standard legal procedure to properly investigate her claims. But doesn't it just break your heart that she has to jump through all these hoops just to feel safe? It really says something about the world we live in. This latest lawsuit fits into a disturbing pattern we're seeing in other accusations against Diddy. From allegations about manipulating individuals at private gatherings to organizing explicit freak-offs. It's painting a picture of someone who allegedly used his wealth and power to exploit vulnerable people. What makes these stories even more heartbreaking is how they all share this common thread of manipulation. So many of the accusers were young people just looking for their big break in entertainment, and it seems like that dream was exploited time and time again. Of course, Diddy's legal team is doing what they always do, denying everything, claiming these are just baseless attempts to extort money. But with so many lawsuits piling up and all these stories sounding so similar, it's getting harder and harder to brush these accusations aside. Now, speaking of Diddy's mounting legal troubles, let me tell you about something that's causing just as much controversy: the California wildfires. I know what you're thinking, but trust me, this connection will shock you. These fires have been absolutely devastating, destroying thousands of homes, taking precious lives, and leaving entire neighborhoods in ruins. But here's where things get really interesting.
I felt like it could fall apart at any moment. It was always like, I was always waiting for the next earthquake or the next fire. I was evacuated 3 times from my house from fires. Yeah. Last one, 2 houses in front of my house burnt to the ground. Right in front of my house.
What the
While investigators are still trying to figure out what officially caused these fires, the internet is absolutely buzzing with conspiracy theories. And the wildest one? Some people are suggesting these fires might have been deliberately set to destroy evidence connected to Diddy's lawsuits and some of Hollywood's darkest secrets. This isn't even the first time wildfires have been linked to suspicious activities. Remember the 2018 Malibu fires or the Maui wildfires in 2023? In both cases, people noticed something strange. Some homes burned completely to the ground, while others right next door were somehow untouched. And now people are saying the exact same thing about these recent fires, with some homes connected to scandal-involved celebrities completely destroyed.
You see entire families who've lost every single thing they have, and they're living on the air mattress and a cot and a chair.
And the timing? Oh my goodness, it couldn't be more suspicious. These fires started just as Diddy's trial is getting closer. It's almost like someone's trying to clean house before everything comes out in court. Even big names are starting to ask questions. Joe Rogan on his podcast hinted that these fires might be part of some bigger scheme, connecting them to Diddy's trial and other Hollywood scandals. And it doesn't stop there. Catherine Austin Fitts, who used to work for the government, went on her podcast to talk about patterns she's noticed. Apparently, properties connected to high-profile figures with secrets tend to mysteriously catch fire when things start heating up.
I came home from the Comedy Store. It was like 1 o'clock in the morning, and me and my wife were looking out the window at the fire coming over the hill. And we made an early call. We said, look, if we're wrong, we'll come back. The house is still here, but let's just get the out of here now.
But wait until you hear about Diddy's list. It's this rumored document that supposedly connects some major A-listers. We're talking Jay-Z, Beyonce, J-Lo, Ashton Kutcher, and even some political figures, to Diddy's infamous freak-off parties. And wouldn't you know it, some of the homes connected to these names were among those destroyed in the fires. If this is true, these flames might be burning away more than just property.
Are you ready? Drum roll. Drake. Oprah. J-Lo. A-Rod. Will Smith. Alicia Keys.
And just wait until you hear about this leaked phone call. Allegedly, there's a recording of Diddy telling someone to get rid of the pizza boxes. And if you've been following these scandals, you know people are saying this is code for destroying evidence. With the timing of these fires, it looks like Diddy might have had quite a few boxes that needed burning.
Yo, listen, do not entertain none of this nonsense and nothing over the phone. I'm gonna need you to get rid of all the leftover pizza boxes. The what? All the boxes left over from the pizza. All
But that's not even the most shocking part. There are reports coming out about underground tunnels collapsing during these blazes. Apparently, these tunnels were being used for some very questionable activities, and videos of explosions near these sites have been spreading like wildfire online. People aren't buying that these are accidents. They're saying these are calculated moves to destroy whatever's hidden below ground. And it's not just random people making these claims. Even celebrities are starting to question what's really going on, dropping hints that something just doesn't add up.
All of PCH is on fire right now. There is fierce wind, down power lines, power poles toppled over. Things are exploding. Gas lines are on fire. Flames are coming back over PCH or being blown by fierce winds.
Take Chris Brown, for instance. He went on Instagram and straight up said, "Someone starting these fires, ish, don't add up." And then there's Allie Carter, one of Diddy's accusers, who's basically saying, "I told you so." Months ago, she warned her followers to watch out for fires and explosions, claiming they'd be used as distractions to cover up crimes. And now she's back, pointing out how everything's happening exactly like she predicted.
Did I ever tell y'all some of those names under there? No, you don't know. Why? Because I never said it. So if something happens to them, I didn't say it. Did I? The whole world can vouch for that. I didn't do it. I know better. I know how the justice system is rigged.
With all these lawsuits piling up against Diddy, the alleged tools of manipulation coming to light, and now these California wildfires wrapped up in wild conspiracy theories, everyone's wondering what's really going on behind the scenes. Could Diddy and these Hollywood elites actually be using this tragic situation to cover up their secrets? And will this latest lawsuit, along with all this supposed evidence, finally be enough to bring down Diddy's empire? The whispers are getting louder, the evidence seems to be mounting, and with each new revelation, more questions emerge. The entertainment industry is holding its breath, waiting to see if this will be the scandal that finally exposes everything. Drop your thoughts below. I'm dying to hear what you think about all this craziness. And while you're at it, don't forget to smash that like button, hit subscribe, and turn on those notifications so you don't miss out on the next shocking deep dive into Hollywood's darkest secrets. It's darkest secrets. It's dark.